Sheila Friedman, and welcome to Community Focus. This is Brandywine Village. It's the oldest neighborhood in the North Market Street area. It extends from 16th Street to 20th and from Market Street to Washington. This corner of Brandywine Village is a section that has been depicted in print dating back to the early 1800s. In those days, this neighborhood consisted of the DuPont powder mill and homes for its workers. Today, Brandywine Village is thriving with homeowners and is considered the most stable and diverse community in Wilmington. It's part of the 4th Councilmanic District and has a very active civic association. For the past few years, this neighborhood has focused on streetscape improvements and rehabilitation of vacant houses. Duane Brown, president of the Civic Association, takes us inside Brandywine Village and talks about its uniqueness and neighborhood improvements.
Our meetings are held the second Tuesday of every month at Shortridge Elementary School, located on the 100 block of West 18th Street. The membership is steady. We usually get between 15, 20 people a meeting, which is excellent for, for a community organization meeting. When I moved into the community, there were a lot of rental properties, and there were a lot of people who weren't, buying into moving in the community. And since then, the opposite has, been the case. We have gotten a lot of the housing, actually, instead of tenants, homeowners, and also there have been a lot of interest in people moving into our community from other areas outside of Wilmington and within the city of Wilmington. In our community, we don't have quote-unquote drug corners. You won't see a lot of drug dealers on the corner doing their trade. They're pocketed in housing, mainly those who are renters and those who have public housing type accommodations. That's where the problem lies, based on feedback from community members and also police reports. A lot of the men have been coming out, being active, with addressing the concerns, particularly with drugs, because there are men who are running the drug trade. So you can't have, an army of women, and that's no slight on women or a sexist statement and so forth, but it's reality. You don't expect for your women in the community to confront drug deals or the drug issues, all by themselves. But when you have a sizable number of your men come out in the community, and can deal with it and, stand symbolically, along with, females in the community to address it, you're going to have a much better success rate. Ever since I moved into the community, I've been hearing about this streetscape problem. As you can see, we have a beautiful community, has a lot of potential, but the infrastructure, is not good in terms of curbs and sidewalks. City recently passed a ordinance stating that homeowners are responsible for individuals who may trip or fall, on their property, pedestrians walking back and forth. This has gotten a lot of people concerned because a lot of residents, they invest a lot of money into their homes and fixing them up inside and outside. They just don't have the capital to get new streets and curbs. So that's where our state legislatures come in, and other people, other government officials to locate monies for us and so forth. So for the last, I would say, the last few years, we've been really actively involved with trying to put together a plan to come up with a streetscape design, that could benefit the entire community. First phase will be the 100 block of West 18th Street, right across from Shortridge Elementary, and then from there they're going to come up to the 200 block of West 18th Street. And then the second phase will be the 1800 block of West Street, both sides, and then go over to West 19th Street. And it's important to point out that the phases were designed as such based on the participation of the people coming out the community and get involved. So I hope that once these initial phases are completed, that it's going to encourage more of the residents in the other blocks to actively come out, be a part of the Civic Association, and really give their input, and also be available when things like this are being discussed and plans are being made. I believe a lot of people in Wilmington are familiar with the design that was done on Walnut Street, the site of MBNA Bank, where They have the brick-faced sidewalks and the curbs, new curbing on the side, and also have the conduits for the lighting. So those are the main three features of it, and also some light, landscaping. Each block had opportunity to select what they wanted for their particular block, which was good because each block is unique in terms of the even historical architecture of the community. The most historical feature of our community is the Brandywine Park. As you know, it's a few minutes walking distance from any block, within our civic boundaries. You see the old historic homes on 19th and Market Street. Those were out of the Puritan days. Those were the homes of, some of your, what you would say, influential people, in the community. Then they started building up to the street here, what's 18th Street, 16th Streets, and so forth. They started building around the community. So actually, the Brandywine Village Civic Association community is the oldest community, in the city of Wilmington. We started a community pride day or a community get-together. I don't know if there's a particular formal name for it, but once a year the community tries to get together and host an event where other people in the community can come out and meet each other. And we have information, like last year we had information about the Civic Association. We had various representatives from the city and the state come out to meet and greet the residents, and we had food and we had games and music, and everyone had a good time. It was really successful. And also we had a few more people learn more about the Civic Association and started coming out to our meetings. So that's something that we try to host. And we had it at the Shortledge School and actually in the back of Shortledge in the park area. The neighborhood needs cooperation from everyone. I mean, those who are not in a position to come out and get involved, or homebound because of health reasons and so forth, they can get involved by picking up the telephone and contacting myself or someone else, to get information on not only what's going on in the community, but programs and things of that nature. We can come out and just physically get involved by, being available for meetings and committees, and, there's so many things that the residents want done. And because we're all volunteers, those of us who are involved in trying to do good for the community, we need all the support we can. So it's only as successful as the people who are involved. But my experience has found like those who want the most participate the least, and we have to change that, mentality to get those people to channel those energies into actually doing something, to help us out. Where communities are alike, they're more common to formulate a bond. Where communities are not alike, if they're miles apart, then they're not willing to come together. For example, if a community is very stable and they don't have issues with drugs or loitering and things of that nature, and they were asked or looked to partnership with a community who have those problems, then the likelihood of that partnership happening is very bleak. So I think it has to do with the chemistries of the different communities, because yes, it's a reality that communities are very territorial, and most of them will just combine in partnership on things that they have more in common. It'll just behoove everyone to, to get involved with something like that. But on issues where we're further apart, there's not a lot of interest in coming together to deal with those. But that's fine too, because any help you can get, when you partnership, you draw more strength, you draw more resources. So in all things where we can come together, we will. In all things that we can't, then we'll deal with those issues ourselves.